Hi, my name is Jenny, and welcome back to my channel, Baking Book and History Nook. We're going to be making another vintage recipe today, this time using this cookbook, the Cheese Cookbook, 179 zestful, exciting cheese recipes. This cookbook is another one from the Culinary Arts Institute, and the copyright is 1956. Now, I am from Wisconsin, and we love cheese in Wisconsin, so that's one of the reasons I chose to make a recipe from this book. Also, this recipe has green olives in it, and I said in one of my other videos, the Betty Crocker Snack Lovers Cookbook video, that I would be making more recipes with green olives because that was the first time I had ever tried a green olive and I liked it. So I said, well, maybe I'll make some recipes from the 50s and 60s with green olives. And this recipe features green olives. The recipe I'm going to be making today is called Broiled Cheese-Olive Sandwiches, and I'm very excited to see how this tastes. I can't wait to try green olives again and to see how it tastes with the cheese. I'm hoping it's good. Everything is ready, of course. Let's get cooking. We're ready to make our broiled cheese olive sandwiches. The first thing we're going to do is get a medium-sized bowl, which I have, and take 2 hard-cooked eggs, and it said to slice them into a medium-sized bowl. Okay, I thought about this a lot, and I did hard-cook my eggs, but I actually chopped them instead of slicing them. Large slices of egg in a sandwich spread, it just didn't sound good. So I did chop my eggs. If that's wrong, oh well, I don't want huge slices of egg. So we got my eggs in there. The next step is to grate and add to the bowl a ½ pound of sharp cheddar cheese, or about 2 cups grated. So I actually bought a block of 2-year sharp cheddar, well, 2-year cheddar, and I did shred it myself, and I have about 2 cups here. So I measured it. I didn't weigh it this time. Actually, it seems like a lot of cheese, but again, from Wisconsin, we love cheese. Now it says prepare and add the following: 1 1/4 cups of chopped pitted ripe olives. I assumed that they meant a can of pitted ripe green olives. I had a jar of green olives with pimento, so that's what I use. So I have 1 1/4 cups of chopped green olives. I hope that having the pimentos in there doesn't compromise the integrity of this recipe, but we'll see how it tastes. I'm assuming that 1950s housewives used what they had, and so that's what I'm going to do. Now it is 1/2 cup of chopped green pepper. So here's my chopped green pepper, putting it in. I am reading this recipe while I'm working today. Here's my chopped onion, 1/4 cup. I am reading this recipe today while I'm mixing it for you because there was quite a bit of stuff in this recipe, and it's just easier that way. Okay, so I set aside my bowl with all of the cheese and egg and vegetables in it. And now it says to blend together a 1/3 cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise or salad dressing, which is what they called Miracle Whip back then. My mom, growing up as a kid in the 50s and 60s, says we called Miracle Whip salad dressing. I don't have salad dressing or Miracle Whip, so I used 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise and then 2 teaspoons of prepared mustard. And prepared mustard just means not dry mustard. So I use Dijon. So this is my 1/3 cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. And it says I'm supposed to blend that together, so I'm going to use my little spatula. Has a bit of onion on it, but oh well, all this is going in the same place anyway. So I'm mixing. Ooh. Okay, here's what it looks like. It's not very appetizing at the moment. This is what it looks like after the ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise have been blended together. I'm just gonna say I'm not impressed. It doesn't look very appetizing, but okay, we're gonna give this a try. It's a 1950s recipe. You just never know. It might be really good. The next step, it says to the bowl. I'm gonna add it to this bowl. I'm gonna add a mixture of 1/4 teaspoon of marjoram, an 1/8 teaspoon of oregano, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I have all of that in here. So the salt, marjoram, and oregano are all in this little dish. I'm just gonna sprinkle them into the mixture, the sauce mixture, and I'm gonna blend that together now. That looks good. You probably can't really see that very well. And now I'm gonna take my bowl of egg and cheese and vegetables, and I am just gonna, actually, you know what? I'm not. First, I'm gonna stir this up before I mix the sauce in. I feel like that's a better idea. In the end, you're kind of just blending it all together according to the recipe. All right, so I'm mixing up the cheese and egg and vegetables. I hope this is good. I have no idea what this is gonna taste like. I like all of the ingredients individually, but I don't know about this. We're gonna find out. Okay, so now I'm gonna mix the sauce in with everything else. And I have to say, I think the most off-putting ingredient here is not the olives or anything else. For me, it's the ketchup, because there's eggs in here too. I know some people absolutely love ketchup with eggs, and they'll eat ketchup on, fried or scrambled eggs. I am not that kind of person, so I am wondering. I don't typically like that, so I'm wondering what this is really going to taste like. We will find out. The sauce is in with everything else, and I'm just gonna give that a quick mix now. Make sure everything is mixed up really well. I think it was probably a good idea to add the seasonings and mix them in the sauce first, just to make sure everything's incorporated. Everything is now thoroughly mixed and incorporated, and this is what it looks like. Let's just say it, this looks gross. It looks really gross. I'm kind of nervous to try it. But we're gonna move on to the next step, because there is another step or two that we have to do before we get to try this. So I'm gonna move on here from the grossness. I'm ready for the next step. The recipe says to split with a sharp knife 4 sandwich buns. Now, I'm not going to be eating 4 of these at once. This is meant for multiple people, so I just have one. I have a very nice bakery bun that I have split with a sharp knife, as they said. And then it says to set the buns on a broiler rack, cut sides up, and place broiler rack in broiler with tops of buns 2 inch from heat source. Toast until buns are golden brown. Okay, I have put my bun cut side up, as they said, on the tray for my toaster oven, and I'm gonna put these just in the broiler and toast them in the toaster oven instead of turning on the big oven. I feel like that's overkill for one bun, and my handy little toaster oven is gonna work just fine. So I will see you again after the bun is toasted. I pulled my sandwich bun out of the toaster oven. It is golden brown as they suggested. And now I'm going to spread the toasted sides of the bun with butter or margarine. I'm using butter. I have my butter dish here. So let's spread them. Here we go, buttering the buns. Let's see if I can. As this is a 1950s recipe, I'm going to be using plenty of butter. I set the butter aside. We are done with that. And then now we're going to spread about 1/8 of cheese mixture on the buttered side of each bun. And then I'm going to return it to the broiler rack to heat. All right. We have our cheesy spread. I don't know if I should use a spoon or I think I'm going to try the little spatula. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go clean my hands because now I'm a bit cheese spready, and I'm gonna put this back in the toaster oven. It says that you're supposed to return to the broiler rack to broil with tops of sandwiches 3-inch from the heat source, and you're supposed to broil it until the cheese is bubbly. Let's get these bubbling in the broiler and we'll give them a try soon. I just took the sandwiches out of the oven and here's what they look like up close. The cheese melted, but it didn't bubble. And I didn't want to keep them in there because the edges of the bun were starting to get too done. And I didn't want them to burn. And I actually toasted them rather lightly the first time. So I think I would do that. If I made this again, I would definitely put the buns in for less time the first time because the edges otherwise are going to get too brown. So let me just put these on a plate and we'll give one of them a try. We're ready to try our cheese and olive sandwiches. They are out of the broiler and I put them on this silver platter. My grandma gave me this platter in the 90s, so it is vintage. I'm going to show you an illustration from the book. This recipe comes from the sandwiches and filling section of the book. And right above the recipe is this very interesting illustration. You can see these fancy dressed ladies. Clearly, they are dressed up for something special, or perhaps a ladies' luncheon or gathering. And so that's why I put these on the silver platter, because it seemed like a recipe that you would make if you were going to have company or for lunch or something like that. And it just seemed appropriate. It seemed like the recipe seemed to scream entertaining. I have stalled enough. It's time to try these. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know if I really liked the smell of them, but we're going to see what it tastes like. Kind of coming to the conclusion that 1950s recipes can be a little bit odd. I'm going to try this one. The bun is pretty crispy after being in the toaster oven. And as you can see, the filling looks good. The cheese melted. It's nice. So now let's give it a try and see if it tastes good. I mean, okay, at the moment it smells pretty good. It smells like olives mostly and melted cheese. So let's try. I like it. It tastes good. This is pretty good. It's loud and crunchy, but and not delicate for beautifully dressed up ladies, but it tastes good. I didn't think I was gonna like it because of the ketchup in there with the egg and stuff, but I don't even really taste the egg, and I got a bite of everything. And the pimentos with the olives, it doesn't do anything bad to the recipe. I was kind of worried about that because it didn't say to use olives with pimentos, but it works. This is good. I mean, I could eat this for lunch, definitely. And I'm going to. I'm going to eat probably everything, but I'll share it. But I'm going to, what's in that bowl, that big bowl of filling that we made, will get eaten in this household because this is pretty darn good. I'm impressed. You know how on the top of the cookbook it says 179 zestful, exciting recipes? Well, zesty is the exact word that I would use to describe this sandwich filling in these sandwiches. I would say that the ketchup is very tangy, the ketchup and mustard. The olives and the onion, the raw onion, they add a lot of flavor. It's like a burst of flavor in your mouth. And then you have the zestfulness of the ketchup and the mustard. The the cheese and the mayonnaise make it just a little bit creamy, but it's just so flavorful. It's really a very flavorful dish. You definitely have to like olives to eat this. If you don't like olives, I don't think you're going to like it. You could even try it with black olives. I did some research, and according to the internet, which is always right, green olives were more popular than black olives in the 1950s. So that's why I used the green olives. I think that would have been a little bit more authentic. Now, again, I don't know about the pimentos being in the olives, but a housewife uses what she has on hand, and that's what I had on hand. Let me know in the comments if you liked this and if you liked the video and if you tried this recipe. I recommend it. I'm kind of surprised, especially because of how it looked in that bowl before. If you want to see me make more recipes from the Culinary Arts Institute cookbooks, because the cheese cookbook today was definitely a success, then let me know in the comments. I do have a stack of these, and I am willing to make more recipes. I actually have some from the 40s as well, so maybe I'll try some recipes from the 40s from the Culinary Arts Institute. Thanks again for watching. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, liking. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.